Today on the Galactic Talk, June 4th, there's a brother. For me, is an elder at the same time too. And I've been actually on Facebook coming to his information, intel. And at the same time too, he was dropping science there and there from Pontiac, Michigan. We're welcoming Rod Hayes.
Yeah, thank you. Yep. So, you had asked me, you said we were going to go over a few topics and try to get the people up to speed to what's taking place in the world and around us and how it affects us directly.
Yeah.
Right. So, you were saying that you would be starting off. So, my name is Rod Hayes, Dr. Rod Hayes, Walker University, aka Morpheus Mysticus Megas. And my primary, I'm what you would call a North American witch doctor, a ancient shaman in modern practice. Much of what I do is done in seclusion because of the levels of the mind that has to be accessed. I need, to be able to do shamanistic duties. And one of those is finding out what's going on in the world and why it's society as it is. So we have a lot of things in place in order to maintain the balance of the universe and the balance of the planet. And as part of the duties of the shaman, we was to bring these things to the attention of the people, but the people not always receptive. So the shaman is normally relegated to the outcasts of society to inform them so that they can figure out ways to reach the inner workings of the modern society, because society takes on different forms under different people at different times according to the patterns of life on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
So we start from there. I like to say I was born a shaman. I was born this way, and I had to figure out how to adapt my external 3D life to the shamanistic practice. That way, I'm not what you would call too distant from society to communicate with the people effectively, but at the same time, I'm not so intricately woven into the society that I can't see clearly what the afflictions are and how to solve the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, as my mother always tell me, I'm not here to take sides. I'm not here to pick one side over the other. I'm just here to fix it. Solve the problem. Problem solved. It's easy to fix.
Yeah.
It all boils down to one thing, and that's the unity key. So we're going to use the unity key. If that's the only thing that's going to fix it, anybody that's not partial to the unity key, then that they have to be excommunicated from the collective.
Mm-hmm.
It's not personal, it's family business. And we the earth family. We can look to the stars all we don't wait for motherfuckers to pull up in spaceships with kicker boxes and speakers on it. But the reality is going to remain that we own Earth. We was born on Earth. We came through the womb of a woman that was from Earth, born on Earth. We can't go back to the time when the woman didn't birth the child, because, as they say in the Moorish literature, time never was when man was not.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you can't calculate a time frame, a fixed time frame in which this woman was not producing men. They just wasn't produced in mass like they are today. They were produced to fight wars.
Right.
Besides that, they were a parthogenic culture, and they lived in arts and artistic expressions of the Shakti, divine feminine energy. So where we at now with the shamanistic practices, we're trying to rebuild everything that was torn down under a rogue series of governments globally. So you have the matriarchs of China taking the charter that gave China their right to set up the communist government is now in the hands of the collection of matriarchs in China. And over here, we don't even know it. Right? The same with Japan and Thailand. America's the last place. All of the matriarchs everywhere just waiting on American matriarchal solidification in order to switch the system back to what it was before it went rogue.
Right.
Right. So in the American system, part of the reasons it was not fixed sooner is because of this contract. In the contract that's being signed in a blood oath, using the blood of the first person to die in the American Revolution as Crispus Attucks.
Mm-hmm.
This is a replica of an ancient Babylonian cuneiform story where they have to kill a god in order to subdue the people. Right. So we thinking that the crucifixion story is a story of resurrection. We didn't know it was a story of enslavement of a people by slaying of the gods, spilling of the blood of the gods on the earth until such time that the earth spirits rebel. Mm-hmm. That's what you call a demon. Because now so much of the spirit or the blood of the gods has been spilled on the soil that the earth then wakes up in a enraged motion of earthquakes, tidal waves. You're killing her babies, right? So since you're killing her babies, she's gonna wake up in a rage. She's a dragon asleep, a giant green dragon curled up in a ball, and we just walking around on top of her as her children. Mm-hmm. When you wake her up and something ain't right, she's gonna balance it out. And in the human arena, where you see humans doing human activity in all 9 areas, as spelled out by Dr. Neely Fuller in the United Independent Compensatory Code for breaking the chains of white supremacy, right? So when you know what the 9 areas of people activity and you understand that the only way that these things are going to be dealt with is by a mortal man in a human flesh body, nature's going to generate that because it's going to be necessary. Nature's going to generate a human being that has to deal with the human problem in order to balance the scales of Mach or nature. So to bring nature back in this balance, they have a practice that when nature starts getting out of balance and the humans can see it in the 3D world, they begin to perform rituals around the planet, what we call them tribal rituals. The dances around the fire. We had to update it. So we dance under spotlights in the nightclubs. The ritual the same. We still doing the same conjure. Mm-hmm. We just don't know we doing it now. Yep. And that conjure is going to wake up the spirit of the earth spirit that's directly tied to the mitochondrial connection with the women. And this is why Elijah Muhammad said the nation can rise no higher than its women. Mm-hmm. And the Moorish literature agrees with that. Mm-hmm. As well as the UNIA literature of Marcus Garvey, as well as W.E.B. Du Bois in his literature. All of them agree that as long as the woman is oppressed within our communities, we are permanently oppressed. And until we break that and liberate the woman, until we restore the matriarchy, we're just going to remain being screwed by the system because the system is designed to screw us until we put the woman on top.
Indeed.
So this is what all of those, the Moorish Women's Consulate, this their job. That's what they're there for. Mm-hmm. The MGT, GCC, this their job. That's what they're there for. Mm-hmm. The nation, the guys in Earth has an Earth Consulate. That's what they're there for. Mm-hmm. And we don't let nobody get away. If they gangbangers, if they under the 6 or if they under the blue, they got the Sisters of the Struggle. That's uniting all of those sisters. Mm-hmm. It's the same with the peace stones and the black and red and the bloods. They all tying back into the vine. That's what they call it. When the matriarch call, and the only organization that can facilitate all this within our community, that can reach everybody, both the Moors and the Indigenous, both the gangbangers and the church women. The only people that can reach everybody is the Nation of Islam. So we can say what we want about Farrakhan, but he did something that nobody else did. He gave us a platform if the God or if the nature spirit was to produce somebody that would come back and put this shit in order, they need something to start, a point of focus. a platform, a base, something to work from. You don't got nothing to work from, you can't build nothing. And he's the only one who has a what you call solid enough scaffold to climb this ladder. You know, the Moors have been fragmented ever since what happened to Drew. We know what the conjure sacrifice of Claude Green is now with the voodoo cult of Islam. We know what that's all about now.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a secret no more. It's in the public domain. And that's the problem. All this is put out in the public domain because we didn't know why we was oppressed. It didn't make sense to us when our ancestors lived so lavish over here. How we go from living lavish to living like paupers. And this was what my job was, to discover what did they do? How did it work? Who did what? Bring an end to the conjure war and don't take a side. The only reason why I had to push harder on the Moors is because them some bad, because they was winning and I came from the side that just so happened to be the feathers. But it ain't personal. I don't take it personal. This is my homeland. So we got a series of hierarchy that we can call, and sooner or later, Mama gonna send one of her boys that's gonna figure it out. Well, I'm number 7, and it's been figured out. So now they have to put it all back together and give it back to us. But see, one of the side effects of the conjure wars is when this shit is over with, it won't be no more separation between feathers and peasants. We done with that shit. We don't even need that shit no more.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Now we just got to do like they say in the lies, meet everybody on the level and leave on the square.
That's it, man.
You know what I'm saying? Once we do that, we all right. You know what I'm saying? Everybody bump straight. No credit, no debt. You can't have no slave.
That's right.
No credit, no debt. You can't have no slave. Their system is designed on a credit debt scenario based off fiat currency that has no true value. It's monopoly money to lure you into a system of debt and loans so that they can hold you in bondage.
Indeed.
That's the trick. You know? So the Moors brought the law over here that they the ones who set the foundation, they the ones set the rules. They already knew this. Both sides knew this. So then here he is, putting this shit together in their face in real time, stacking the bricks on top of the bricks until we get to capstone.
Yep.
So the only way you gonna know who he is, he got to be the master of masters, but he had to be a self-raised master. That means he had to go out and discipline his own self because can't nobody else discipline him because he won't accept it. That means he had to go out and teach his own self because can't nobody else teach him because he won't accept it. You know what I'm saying? When you got this unruly character, how do you teach him? You don't. You just make the knowledge available. He gonna grab the relevant shit and put it in the order that it go in. It's just the nature of the monkey man. And that's why his symbol in Egypt was the baboon. And that's why over here is King Kong, that's Thoth, reclaiming the empire. That's why he's on top of the Empire State. The reason they shoot him off is because that's the ambition. They don't want him to never get up there. Once he up there, it's a wrap. Well, they can wrap this shit up. They can put it in the shoe box. They can put it in the candy box. They can put it in the cake box. Hell, they can put it in the refrigerator box. The ice box. This don't matter to me. This shit a wrap.
Yeah.
All I know is Pandora box has been put back together because there's only one mental that's capable enough to process to that magnitude to put that shit back together. It's like trying to unscramble an egg. It's damn near impossible, but it ain't. It can be done, but very few can do it. Maybe only just one. And then we take the whole carton because it all go together. It's still 1 dozen. 12 signs of the zodiac, the 12 sections of the Order of the Round Table, the Moorish Order of the Round Table. We all know C&B, Charles Mosley Bay. If you don't, we ain't up on our shit. If we don't know who Ravana Bay is, we playing game.
That's real talk, man. Yeah.
If we don't know who Empress Tierra Verde Honesty Gossanel Bay is, we sitting here we cracking jokes.
Indeed, bro.
If we think Malachi Z. York not a martyr, we a damn fool. If we think that Larry Hoover and Jeff Ford some gangbangers, and we really lost. If the people don't recognize the chiefs can't restore the land. So this is where we at with it. Whether they was Moorish or Indigenous, the conjure war over. I said that shit is enough. I'm the high chief of the land. The games went on long enough. Call went out. Now they can let the kings back to the land to restore this shit. If somebody don't do it, how's it gonna get done? Everybody waiting on somebody else. Well, I took the initiative. I ain't waiting on nobody. I decided to start putting it together because I remember hearing something about in my prison days when I was walking through the day room. I heard something say on TV said, if you build it, they gonna come. So I'm not worried about it. I'm gonna build the matriarchy. And everybody gonna fall in fucking line because the matriarchs run there. I don't care who you is, you all got a mama. Everybody got to answer to their mama at the end of the day. Right or wrong. And if you get too out of line with mama, daddy gonna bust you upside your shit. You know, that's the way it is. Now it's time for the mothers to start healing the earth. Because they are our first healers, our first nurses, our first teachers, our first educators, our first spiritual instructors, our first songbirds that sung the songs of liberation in that year. They don't even sing liberation song. They sing booty shaking song. I mean, I don't got no problem with a booty shaking song when it's time to shake booties. But when it's time for liberation, where's the songs of liberation? Well, where the rest of them at? They all making music. You know, where the liberation music at? So we got to put that shit in code now. They don't want us talking no liberation shit. So now we turn into mumble rap. They don't even know that even mumble rap is telling the story. It's saying that we're not allowed to say what we want to say, so we got to mumble under our breath. But this is supposed to be freedom of speech. But now they want to censor you for saying the shit that's true. It's okay to tell all the lies you want to as a Christian preacher, but when you talk the raw and uncut and you use the word in the middle of that shit, that ain't you the problem.
There you know, yeah.
And now, look, anybody tell you to be politically correct on a platform is a damn fool. And I'm going to tell you why. To be politically correct means that the politics are correct. To be politically incorrect is a rebellion against the incorrect politics. So while you got these guys like Obama or Clinton, they all up there smiling and being politically correct, the politics ain't correct.
Indeed.
So you get a guy to come out the woodworks like a Khalid Muhammad. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear that shit. Then the ones who supposed to be using that for fodder to grow, run from it. They look at Farrakhan like he did something wrong because he rebuilt what Elijah Muhammad had built and Wallace tore down. It ain't nothing personal against Wallace, it's just family business. Fredo could not do what Michael Corleone can do. He's not a strategist. He's lost in that position. So now you put Farrakhan in the position, he gave y'all the final call. Now go ask him, did he do it? Ask him, was he an instrumental key part in raising of Hiram Abiff, the master builder, who they was waiting for a master to be raised by the lion's grip and a lion's paw? Ask him, don't ask me, ask him. You know, anybody got any doubt, call him up and ask him, did you shake that hard for real?
Gotcha, bro.
Ask Malachi, was he part of it? You know? So sooner or later, somebody gonna have to answer this shit. I want to see me and Abu Jamal on the street. You understand what I'm talking about?
Indeed, bro.
I want to see Mutulu Shakur on the street. This is what I'm talking about. I want to see Seiko Odinga if he's still living. Been brothers the whole time. Because he's going to put it all together and we're going to put this shit out in the open. And here it is. We're in the public domain now. So the matriarchal call is when the mothers of the land decide to congregate to restore the land. This is what the women do. Once the men is ready to go to war for real, the women have a meeting, you know?
Yeah.
Because this is ridiculous. Most of this comes from running from the power of self. Not wanting to develop your inner self. You being outworked by everybody else, but it's your shit that they training in. They outworking you and you're a lazy champion. You don't want to train for the opponent, you're training for the fight of his life. And you want to lay around and eat bonbons and cake while he drinking carrot juice and eating whole pineapples. You want to eat bonbons and cake. And while he running 15 and 20 miles a day, you want to do 2-3 miles. You want to slack off because you used to do 5. Because you got this many wins. You can't never stop training to win until you get tired of fighting. You sometimes might have to change up your tactics, your strategies, and your methods. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So we win the conjure war. We restore the matriarchy. This shit a wrap. Now we get to go to the type of ideas of thought. No big eyes, no little U's. The 5 is just as important as the 6.
Mm-hmm.
The red is just as important as the blue.
Mm-hmm.
The black is just as important as the white. They all got a different function. Use it for what it's worth and keep it in its place. Ali said, under your own vine and fig tree, right? That means tribe up. That's what that means.
Bro, Matriarchal, like we spoke earlier, saw a lot of information that you've been sharing, actually, and the work behind it. So, please share your, what you can disclose, your work on the matriarchal, I'm going to call it essence or energy, especially in this time.
Okay, so the energy work for me was part of my shamanistic duties. When they call it, a lot of them call it light workers and whatnot. And what it is like fortune tellers learn to read the crystal ball or tarot cards. And then you have those like in the motherland, they read the goat entrails or the cow entrails, and they normally do these at some kind of ceremony or ritual, even if it's a mini ritual for like a tarot reader has a mini ritual they do when they set up. But anyway, it's calibrate energies so that you can read, I call it the hieroglyphics of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Every movement in the universe is written with a definition in the book of eternal life. When you understand how to read the hieroglyphics of the universe, you're not reading the same language that you read in English or Japanese or French or Chinese. You read an entirely different language.
Yeah.
Part of my duties as a witch doctor or shaman is to translate what I see as close to what you can understand for the person I'm talking to as possible. To tell them what the spirit is saying is in their path. This is what you need to do or don't do. This is what I see. If you watch, you just look for this sign, and this sign. Right? Most people don't take that shit serious. They think it's entertainment. It's not entertainment. And there's not nothing cute or funny about it. It is what it is. And so reading those energies is the same as reading hieroglyphics. A heavily melanated person that's from the Nile Valley can go sit in front of the hieroglyphics and reach what they call the alpha state, alpha wave state of the brain. Then they no longer are looking at pictures. Those pictures animate like a cartoon and tell a story for the person that's melanated. They exaggerate it in the movies. And this is the part that people don't get.
Yeah.
The movies give you an exaggeration of what is really taking place with you. when you have in your experience. Mm-hmm. So the same thing I just talked about, where you have this, the coming alive of the animation of the hieroglyphics. It's not like they show in the movies where they come off. It's not like that. It's like you just automatically know what it's saying as you scroll down and with your eyes. You just automatically know because it's in your genetic code to know. And your genetic code has something on it called the governor. The governor keeps you from accessing the information that's above your pay grade. You know, and so I got to be able to translate it at the highest levels all the way to the lowest levels.
Gotcha.
Right. So the only way you can do that is you got to get to the top. And when I was getting these knocks, I didn't understand why they would make me feel the way. We call them knocks. This goes back to the spiritualist research of the early 1900s when they called it rapping and tapping.
Gotcha.
Rapping and tapping is a carryover from old Louisiana conjure that became known as the blues and jazz and soul and rock and roll. They all brought in a different piece to the puzzle. The rapping and tapping is the playing of the ancient drum, the ceremonial African drum. That's why everything is based around the drum and music. It's a ceremony. From the rock concert to the church, to the masjid and whatever instruments they play there, to India when they playing the cymbals with the drum. It's all a ritual.
Indeed.
Because the earth has started to deteriorate till almost 98% of the earth's population requested Mother Earth to change the current conditions. And because over here, we stayed in this condition so long because once the Moors got in the trap with us in the conjure war, nobody ain't know how to get out of it. So they just keep repeating the same dumb shit over and over. That's why you got the series of fallen leaders. Rise up, fall, because they are not finding the blind spot. No matter whether they, the Moors or whether they, the Amarus that was already here, they both got trapped in the conjure, throwing conjure balls at each other, trapped each other to the point where neither one of them can find a way out. So now, because Garvey recognized what key was missing, called the gorilla key, and Prince Hall and Absalom Jones recognized the conjure at play in the lodge. This what made them set up the Prince Hall Lodge. And they went to make sure that these people over here don't give them no shit. That's why they went over to Europe to get their first charter. They didn't want to charter them over here because they didn't want us into the information. Once they got into the information, Noble Drew Ali, along with Marcus Garvey and Elijah Muhammad, put it all in the public domain. They played flea flicker, keep away. They wasn't the only ones. It was some that we thought was our sworn enemies. They were still putting the secrets in the public domain so you could get the keys. Like J. Edgar Hoover, who was a mulatto that everybody, and he was the spook who sat by the door.
Yeah.
You know, that's the spook who sat by the door who figured out how to use the gangs in order to bring us some insight into the hood. The whole up is the people cowards. Our people that have been under the white people been trying to, what we call white people is not even white people.
There you go.
But the ones they so-called white people, the pale-skinned people, fighting harder for the dark-skinned people, and the dark-skinned people running from the truth. Running from that shit. Noble Drew Ali said, then I can count how many of y'all gonna be saved on one hand. Surely our children should suffer from a lack of knowledge to an extreme degree. You know, and this is where we at with it. So, what we do with the energies and how we read them tell us where the trap's at. from the conjure. The conjure leaves a residual. It's like gunpowder residue. Everybody got to pay for their own dirt. Whether you break a mirror on the crossroads called the high conjure to shatter the minds of the gods, which you're not supposed to do, or whether you do some low conjure to try to take another woman's husband or wife. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter. You got to answer for your dirt. You gonna get your shit. Realize who you are. Mm-hmm. This our shit. You know? Some of us, it was Tulsa, Oklahoma in the Black Wall Street episode. Some of us, it was the Philadelphia bombers, the Giant Africa, and the MOVE movement. For others, it was the Rosewood incident. For some, it was still carryover from the non-ending Seminole War that never ended.
It never ended. So speak on this, bro.
Right. So they tell us that the Seminole War lasted 300 to 400 years. But what they don't tell you is the Seminole Wars never ended. All they did was went into the inner city. And this is why they have Jeff Ford over there right now talking about he was trying to make a deal with Gaddafi. He's the general in the Seminole Wars. But his people don't even understand what's going on, so they don't even know. Larry or Chief Malik, he don't take that bullshit. There's no way them brothers supposed to have been in prison this long. Any of them. They all freedom fighters.